All right, we're back again. Another episode, Understory Unfiltered. Very special guest today. We've got Adam Robinson calling in from Austin. Adam is the CEO and founder of RB2B and retention.com. Adam, I don't know if you want to do a little intro. We obviously know each other, but
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
you nailed that. That is that's a good intro.
That's who you are.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll get right into it. Obviously, Adam is very well known on LinkedIn. I don't know, what do you have, about 115,000 followers, 120,000 followers at this point?
I may be creeping on 130. I don't know.
Growing like crazy.
Yeah,
Growing
I
like
checked
crazy.
my YouTube subscribers today. I thought it was 1,600 and it was 2,500. So it's like not nearly the the number size, but it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's YouTube. We found the same thing. It's way harder to grow your following on YouTube. LinkedIn, I feel like you can post a ton of content, and there's so many people that are already looking at you on LinkedIn. The algorithm helps a lot with YouTube. I think it's just about consistency. You and I talked
Yeah.
about that a little bit last week too.
And I think it's kind of easy to write on LinkedIn to these go-to-market people who are doing their jobs on LinkedIn.
Yep.
I think if you made a channel on AI, for example, you would grow your followers on YouTube very quickly. But
Yep.
it's like
It's a different audience.
yeah, exactly. It's a different audience. It's a different audience size that is looking for what we're talking about. But yeah, I'm trying to use it as a top of funnel vehicle to complement everything else I'm doing in the same motion because I'm already doing all the other shit. But kind of low expectations for what it's going to actually do.
Yeah. We're starting to see our first leads trickle in from YouTube. It's starting to work for us. It's a slow build. I mean, we only have 60 subscribers right now. We just started the YouTube channel, but we only have 60 subscribers and we're already seeing leads come in. So I think
That's
there's also
pretty good.
obviously, yeah, there's an art to blending LinkedIn and YouTube too. So if you talk about your YouTube on LinkedIn, obviously that's a
Yeah.
vehicle to push engagement towards it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we're doing. But I have a million questions for you.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Some of this stuff we know already. Some of it is brand new to us, and we're going to learn about it just like our audience is going to learn about it. So that's going to be fun. It's unfiltered. You know that. You're unfiltered, so should be fun.
Let's go, man.
It's cool. So our B2B and retention.com, they're owned obviously both by you. You're at what, 25, 20, a little under 24 million maybe in ARR right now?
Yeah, 25 total, you
25.
could say.
Is it the biggest it's ever been?
It's probably, I mean, it's probably a little, it's maybe like 1 million ARR lower than the high,
Okay.
maybe 500K lower than the high point.
And when was the high point?
Probably the fourth quarter last year.
Okay.
The first quarter is really hard for the e-commerce side because if you were going to cancel something, you leave it on through the holidays and then you cancel it in the first quarter. And then during the first quarter, you figure out your growth plan for the next holiday. And then you spend the second and third quarter implementing that plan. And then you do
Interesting.
nothing in the fourth quarter. And then you cancel everything in the first quarter again
Makes
that you
sense.
thought didn't work. So this guy, Jeremy Horowitz, told me that's the lunar calendar and B2B is on the solar calendar. So, the e-com side's 80% of the revenue. So fucking hurts, like every first quarter, we think the world's ending. It hasn't ended yet. You know, I don't know what else to say.
So with that said, obviously retention is bigger than our B2B,
Mm-hmm.
but are you seeing the majority of the growth coming from our B2B versus retention?
Well, we were, and then, I'm pretty vocal about this. I'm just not satisfied with what the product is yet. So kind of like my attitude about something like that is like, if I don't think the product is good, then I'm burning leads by trying to shove people through this funnel on something that is not yet. Not to say that I don't think you need customers to figure out what you need to be building, but 5 marketing channels all funneling people down to something that is very obviously wrong for ways that I think are pretty clear that we're fixing. It's I want to stop the marketing. So a combination of churn related to the product and our current positioning versus competitors, and um, stop. We stopped all marketing, which whether it was because we stopped or not, or because like the kind of hype cycle of that product due to how much marketing leverage I have on LinkedIn. Signups are probably like 60% of what they were at the peak, but I would describe the peak as like there was like a perfect storm of stuff. Like people really wanted the product. I had that 6 Sense thing fall in my lap. I had this Mark Cosgrove thing fall in my lap. So a lot was, and we were just like jamming on like UGC and ads and email, and so yeah, a lot of it, you know, that's the story. So it's like it's not really growing. I mean, it did this week, like, but it had been kind of stuck in the mud for a few months while we were trying to work out what the product is supposed to be
Yep.
honest. Like, and I have some ideas now that are very different than I thought like a month ago, and we'll see if we can do it.
So that brings me to my next question. So you're a master at this, and you talk about it all the time, but you even have a podcast of your own or a show of your own called Unfuck Your Startup. But you're a master at getting unstuck. So you seem to get stuck, and that's part of being a bootstrap founder. I mean, Ali and I feel the exact same way all the time. You get stuck. You don't have excess capital to play with necessarily that you don't care about because it's all your money when you're a bootstrap founder. So you're very intentional in the way you scale. So you've gotten stuck multiple times. You've been vocal about it. And then you've gotten unstuck multiple times and also been vocal about it. So how do you go about getting unstuck? And when do you know you're stuck? Is it like a quarter of non-growth? Is it a half a year? Is it a year? What is it? What are those thresholds? And how do you get yourself unstuck? And honestly, more important than that, what's the thought process that goes into getting yourself unstuck?
So like I am very uh product oriented in my thinking with being stuck. Um, I think the reason you get stuck is because, well, first of all, these products that I currently sell, they're not sticky by the definition of SaaS products. They're on the high, categorically when you're kind of selling leads or intent data as a SaaS, that is going to be higher churn than if you were selling a CRM or you were selling like e-commerce people, email marketing, or like you're a system of record or like a mission critical workflow, right? Like, and then, something like, Hey Reach or Instantly is kind of in the middle, right? It's like not your source of truth. It's not leads, but you wouldn't say it's like a mission critical workflow for a lot of people either. It's kind of like, if you're doing cold email, you need Instantly. If you decide that you are doing it less or not at all, then you don't need Instantly anymore. So and that's just like not the case for a CRM for a B2B SaaS. Like if you are doing B2B SaaS with salespeople, like you must use a CRM, regardless of whatever else you're trying to do. So anyway, I think there's like, for me, it hurts because like getting stuck is like we're going backwards because this churn dynamic. And I think it's mostly about, I think on the e-com side, it's like we won this Shopify market and then like ran through the TAM before we sort of like built onto the product enough to either upsell that current audience or kind of go up market with something a little bit different or something like that. And then so that's that, and we're working on it. We've been working on it, but like I just don't think our ideas have been good enough. Recently, there's one that we're testing that I think is possibly a great idea that would like really, really get us moving again, if we can get it to work. And then look, RB2B, like it's kind of a similar situation. It's like there's like a perceived accuracy and then filtering, routing, and what now problem that we've thought of ways to fix. Now we think that we're going to really go for one path. of just like trying to make the Slack experience as good as humanly possible. So like we tried to build an ICP filter. Problem is you build the ICP filter that's in Apollo and you put 50 leads through it, nothing is left, right? So like people are like, this sucks. AI is actually, we think, much better at filtering than Apollo's lead filter for this use case, because it'll get you a little nearer to ICP, you know, so it just doesn't eliminate everybody. So like we had that, and then you know, some interesting sort of segmenting and routing to reps, and we just added demand basis reverse IP lookup tech. So it's like if we had some, you know, buyer group recommendations on top of that, and then for the what now, it's kind of like you could do some very basic push this button to see what I should say to these people and get them to stop, you know, thinking about it. And then have some team features in Slack where it's like, you know, the person who bought it, the marketer, can like see that all of the stuff is happening, right? Either there's an intentional ignore, or like this person's been actioned, or like whatever else. And doing all of that versus just a fire hose in Slack, which is what it's been for the last, you know, 13 months, I think would substantially improve the experience of what it is. And, you know, it's kind of like I'm turning on some channels in advance of that to try to just like, you know, get things going. So I don't know, you know, it's like I know what the problems are. I'm not totally sure that these are going to fix them in the right way. Like the last attempt, we thought that like running it through a CRM to do the filtering and then spitting it back out into Slack, which is what people kind of wanted to do, it just didn't work correctly. It's like the output of the CRM looks like it just looks like shit. Like what RB2B looked like going into Slack before was actually very pleasant to look at. There was a headshot on the thing, and like
It was easy to read. It was
just
definitely
felt
easy to
good.
read.
Yeah, it just felt good. And you run it through the CRM, and what HubSpot spits out, it looks like a fucking grocery receipt or something like that. It's just, it's not good. It's not drawing you back to the thing. It's still, you know, it's still assigning you homework. It's like, here's this lead, you know, figure out if you care about it, and then figure out what to do about it, which, you know, I think we can bridge that gap in the Slack experience, then the product gets a lot better. I don't think it's going to be like, you know, like a CRM, like net revenue retention, over 100% type of deal. But, you know, maybe it doesn't need to be, right? Like, maybe we can get it to like 10 or 15 with this, and then there's some other version of something else that we like kind of add on to it or something. I don't know.
So long story short, to get unstuck, basically what you're doing is you're focused on the product. So you're taking
Yeah.
feedback from your customers, you're taking feedback from churn rates, and then you're fixing the product. But that's how you're getting unstuck every time.
Yeah, because like that's kind of all that matters. You know, it's like great marketing is not helpful if the product sucks. It's
Totally.
only going to get you so far. And then if the product's great marketing is an incredible complement to it. But yeah, like even like a great product can be accelerated a ton by great marketing, you know, like a
But a
shit
great
ton.
product is table stakes. If you don't have a great product.
Yeah, I think if you don't have a great product and you don't have like clear messaging about what it is, those two things, it's like you just need to go back to the drawing board until, and you know, get to the smallest version of yourself until you feel like you actually have that, and you should be able to see that you do have it when you do.
Totally. I think also something to mention though is you have go to market pretty much figured out as a whole. Distribution is not an issue for you because one, you have a super engaged, gigantic audience on LinkedIn. So these are qualified buyers that are ready to buy. They know you. You've built this following, you've built this trust. But for people that might not be in your situation, so other founders that might have 500 followers on LinkedIn that don't have distribution figured out as well as you, where would they go if they get stuck?
Well, look, it depends. I mean, the thing that's hard is it's hard to be honest with yourself about your product sucking. And it's really hard to be honest with yourself about your messaging sucking. It's like, to that, I would say, well, why are they stuck? Right? Like, if they have a strong product, which I doubt, because that's usually why people are stuck, and they just can't explain it, right? Like, and that's why, then like, you're, you got to really work on dialing in that messaging, right? Like, but I would say it's like, if you just have people using your product and saying they can't believe how good it is, then it's possible that you're not niched down enough. Like if it's like really good, but it's broad, but your scale isn't large enough to where there's like word of mouth within like a community of people, that could be a possibility that like you should just like find your best niche of users and then like hone in on the messaging to them and like point whatever marketing resources you have to them and see if that helps. I mean, that like probably our biggest getting unstuck event was like get emails before it was retention.com. Was kind of like anybody could sign up. It was PLG. Like we were kind of letting anyone sign up. We didn't really know, like I was always trying to figure out other verticals. We didn't really know who the best customer was. And then it was like, oh, these big Shopify guys are by far the best buyer of this. They pay us a ton. They never churn. They bring their friends. They don't ask to be paid for that. We're literally only going to give demos to people who fit that description. And then that was like 13 to 23 or whatever. But then I thought it was going to be like 100 million ARR business, but the churn problem did not get solved. And then, there was this whole competitive thing that happened that was surprising to me at the time. We really enjoyed a couple of years of not a lot of competition, and like 5 people showed up in a year, like just like undercutting us. And the revenue expansion that I thought I was going to get turned into contraction, and it was just really painful.
Yeah, it makes sense. And is that when you pivoted into RB2B? You were like, okay, we're getting stuck here with retention.com.
Yeah, like, Santosh was here and he was like, the world needs something like this for B2B. And that was kind of, and really what it was he'd been saying that for a while. My content started crushing with B2B. And then I felt as though I could keep it going. Like I had like 3 super viral posts in a row. And I was like, oh, like I now know how to do this. So then we built the B2B thing. And that's, whatever, 14 months ago. It was March 1st last year.
And now you're 5 million, right? With our B2B?
Yeah. 5 million. You can check out our public revenue dashboard at rb2b.baremetrics.com. BARE.
I love that you do that. I absolutely love that you do that.
BAREmetrics.com. Wait, you don't like when people are like 60 closed deals in 2 months, 1.2 million of pipeline. Here's how I did it. It's like, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, that is so, yeah. Anyway. Thank you.
Yeah. So long story short, if you want to see Adam's numbers, you can go see them. They're public.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Santosh, though, how did you guys even meet? I don't know if I've ever heard that story from you, any of the podcasts you've done. How did you guys actually meet?
Yeah. So like I was trying to figure out for retention.com, like before we really went for it, we were like maybe at 10 million ARR with like 6 people. And I was trying to figure out what the enterprise.
Well, let's repeat that. 10 million ARR with 6 people.
Yeah.
You're talking about revenue per employee. That is insane.
Yeah, those were good days. So I was trying to figure out why no one in enterprise did what we did. I had theories about it, but I just didn't understand the landscape at all. So it was like going into like any kind of relationships that I had that might know people that knew about whatever. In a private equity contact, I was like, oh, you should talk to this guy, Santosh. Like he, basically like isn't in the consumer side of data, but he's like the godfather of the B2B data. And then I just like love talking to
these crazy companies.
Yeah. I just like love talking to him and was like, this guy is, I need him to work at our company. So yeah. And he was amazing in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt unique when you brought Santosh on in the first place, because I feel like your personalities are extremely polarizing too. Like you are very loud, you're very charismatic. You've got this whole, like, I'm going to say whatever I want to say. I'm going to be authentic through the noise. People are going to hear me and they're going to know me because I'm cutting out all the bullshit. I say it how it really is. And Santosh seems very buttoned up, professional, came from these massive companies. How did you make that work?
I mean, he didn't like he liked what I was doing. Like he definitely understands what effective marketing is, and even though he can't, it's just not him to like do what I was doing himself. He thought it was great that I'm able to basically like recognize, you know, this style that is very authentic to me that also very few people can pull off for whatever reason, right? Like, it's just very hard for people in general to be authentic on social media, period, right? On Instagram, everyone needs to look
Only
skinny and
post the
rich.
highlights. Yeah,
Yeah,
only post the
skinny and
highlights.
rich. On LinkedIn, you have to be smart and successful. Many CEOs have investors, so it like really holds them back about what they can say and do. And look, I really just I'm not really worried about what people think about me. So like I'm just gonna say what I think, and if you don't like it, thank you. You're helping my post. You know, um, that's kind of my position on the whole thing. So
Yeah, and there's definitely been people who've been vocal about your content that they don't like it. Can name a few. I mean, you had the beef with Mark Cosglow.
well that
That one. Yeah, yeah, that one I don't know, but like there's another guy in cybersecurity who
yeah,
calls
Clark
you.
Barron just like hates any opportunity he sees to just like use my audience to like
That's what it
attack me
seems
and
like. That's what it seems like.
attack me and like whatever he'll do. There's this guy I blocked because he's being such a dick, and I kind of wish I didn't. I forget his name even, but he just gives me shit about so much stuff. And he was like, really, he started giving me a hard time about the terms of service we have. Which, like, by the way, I hired Apollo's attorneys and had them write the same thing because I was like, maybe eventually we do something like they do, and like this also covers what we're doing now. So like, I'm like, dude, like, what are you even talking about? Like, this is like a PLG B2B data company with like the exact same terms of service as the largest one. And you're like giving me shit about how this is like a vendor friendly terms. Like, what are
Yeah,
we even talking about? Like, you know, like,
and I think I saw this too. It was the whole thing where when RB2B goes into HubSpot, it downloads your data from HubSpot, right?
yeah, which by the way, all of the companies like us do.
Yeah,
It says exactly what it's doing before it does it. It gives you the option to cancel. And like, these guys like Jordan Crawford, he's like, well, at the least a bit, you could, ask people to opt into it. It's like, bro, like, I don't know how to make an opt-in that's clearer than you looking at what it is going to do and saying okay or cancel.
yeah,
Right? It's like
exactly.
a feature that you have to do if you are going to but this is it. It's like you get an audience and people will that's just a great opportunity for everybody to like gang up on me for something that everyone else is doing in the space. And then you get these people, they're all high and mighty. It's like, well, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that you should too. It's like, well, the reason I'm doing it is because people are fucking asking me to, right? Like, in order to mark a lead as in your CRM, you must somehow know what is in the CRM.
Of course.
I don't know any other way than to know what's in the CRM to mark something in the CRM. So yeah, but you know what? That shit's gonna happen.
Yeah. Do you find that it's been positive or negative for the business overall? Because obviously, look, I know for a fact
What
the
that one in
no,
particular?
no, just like the controversy. Like we can use Clark as an example. Like Clark will openly call. It seems like he talks about Adam Robinson more than anything else on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
like, I wonder if that's been good for your business or bad for your business. Like
I
Clark,
mean,
obviously,
I think it's so hard to. It's just part of it, right? So like maybe some of it's been bad, but like you need people like that. You know what I mean? Like they're because I respond to him. It's not like I ignore it. I'm
no,
just like,
you had
bro,
him.
like I don't know what to tell you. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I saw a hole, I filled it. You don't like how I filled it. Like go talk about it and I'll tell you why I don't care. Right? Like that's basically my argument. I'm like, tell me that I'm not complying with US regulations. He's like, well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that your ethics aren't there. I'm like, bro, that is your opinion. Right? Like I'm a law-abiding citizen. They make this shit illegal. I'm going to stop fucking doing it. So will my customers. Until then, enjoy our debate, right?
And the thing is there's so many other companies doing it. They're just not being as vocal about it.
I mean, it's just, it is what it is.
That's what drives me crazy about that whole thing is like I can think of probably 10 companies off the top of my head that do a very similar thing, maybe more invasive, to be honest with you, than what RB2B is doing. And no one's calling them out. And I think it's probably because they don't have Adam Robinson.
Well,
at the helm
yeah,
of their
I mean,
company.
it's just not going to get any traction.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
same reason 8 of them are stuck at 1 million ARR. They like comment on all my posts that their platform's better and it does all this other stuff. And people are like, what is this identity matrix guy even talking about? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like identity matrix guy. Obviously, if you've had this company for 10 years and no one knows who you are, your product sucks. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's just a reality. Like, it would have gone way farther than it is now if you actually had a good product.
Totally. Well, with that said, I am curious. So, we've run a lot of your paid media ads, paid media campaigns. We know that's been a channel that's worked. Obviously, LinkedIn seems like it's the most valuable channel of anything for you. Just LinkedIn organic content.
Yeah, it's just where the buyer lives, right? If
Right.
like marketers are buying your product, they're there.
But I've also never heard this in anything you've ever said to me, in any of the podcasts I've listened to of you, and any of your content. Retention.com at its peak was what, like 21 million in ARR, something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
How did you get Retention.com that big prior to you building this insane LinkedIn audience?
So I started building the LinkedIn audience when it was at like 13, but it's not really why I kept going. Like, it had extraordinary product market fit, lightning in a bottle.
Okay.
Like, it was the hottest thing in the Shopify ecosystem at the end of 22 through the middle of 23. And I was building a personal brand, which I think helped with the overall credibility of this machine working. But really what it was is like when you have something that's that good in that ecosystem, there's an influencer network that you tap into and it's such a tight community. It's like these 2,000 stores at the top of that ecosystem, and they all do what all of them are doing at the exact same time. So it gives you this like hockey stick, but your product has to be good. I mean, people talk to me all the time. It's like, oh yeah, how do I do that? It's like, dude, unless you have like this killer word of mouth happening already in that ecosystem, you trying to like get these guys to make intros for you, it's just not going to work. You need to be like True Classic, Mudwater, Dr. Squatch, Warby Parker, but these 5 guys are getting 10x ROI within 30 days, and like you got to be able to pay the affiliate $5,000 if we close a deal or something like that, right? So that was really what it was.
So in e-com, there's basically an inner circle of like 2,000 Shopify stores, and those Shopify stores, once you've infiltrated one of them, you just spread by word of mouth like a wildfire.
Yeah, or like 20 of them, right? But the point is still there. Like you need some critical mass of brands that everyone admires, and then they will all do it.
Got it.
They're all in chat rooms and they're all, listening to the same podcasts and stuff.
And was there any overlap at all when you started RB2B for any of the retention.com customers? Did anyone have a B2B business and they came over and said, okay, we love retention, let's try RB2B?
No.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Totally different. I mean, there may be, like,
a handful.
Yeah. Both of those businesses have like 2,000 customers, basically. Like, it's just retention.com's got higher ACV.
Wow.
But there may be a couple overlaps, but it's not substantial. I don't even know if the script would work because of how we have it set up. We have like the same stack of identity vendors. So I don't think you could fire you know what I mean? I don't think you could fire it on the same page. You might be able to like put the B2B script on a B2B page and the other one on the other page, but I don't even know if that would work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about Diana Ross? So it seems like she is a Swiss Army knife for you when it comes to everything sales and marketing. Seems like she's been an absolute stud at just getting deals closed and big deals closed. I'm curious. I know you brought her over to RB2B now, but she obviously did a lot for you at retention.com too. 1, how did you find her? 2, what do you think her secret weapon is? And then 3, has she been able to replicate so far with RB2B what she was able to do with retention?
Yeah, the story of Diana is like, I was listening to this podcast with her old boss named Ross Paquette, who's got an email marketing company called MaraPost. It's like MailChimp, but he got huge in the affiliate space. And this guy, at the time, I had an email newsletter app as well. I was getting paid $68 a month on average, and he was getting $9,000 a month on average. So I was like, what the fuck does this guy know that I don't know? So I started going through his former salespeople to try to figure it out on LinkedIn and asking them, if they, I was basically pitching like a paid advisory role for like a mid-market email system. And Diana's like, yeah, I'll talk to you, like whatever. So I hired her to do some consulting, really liked her. She was kind of like running an agency because she had left MaraPost. And that's how I found her. And like, we tried one thing that didn't work. We tried to like create an email app. She thought they were moving up and leaving this space above MailChimp in the email market. And then we built something and like went there, and there were already like 20 ESPs who were like, it's just funny. It's like, I think being a salesperson, you just don't realize how much like brand helps what you're doing.
For sure.
It's just, you're so unaware that like you're closing these deals because it's just not, you just don't have a complete picture of the market at all. So most of the time. So yeah, that one failed. Get emails worked. And yeah, last question was like, had she done for RB2B what she did at retention.com? I mean, problem is we just hired a sales manager who we hope can take a lot of the retention.com stuff off her plate, and she can get a little deeper into the weeds. The problem is she's not in the weeds in RB2B quite yet. So you get amazing insights. I mean, it's not that she's doing a bad job or anything. She's just doing what she can. But like, part of her magic is that she gets a ton of product insight from just doing sales with like a bunch of different types of people. And she can sort of keep all this straight in her head of like who she's talking to and the kind of thing they need and what we might want to build and like all that stuff. So that's what she's not getting with RB2B yet. And like, I hope she will, at some point, but that's kind of like the problem with having two businesses. It's like, she is, it doesn't take much of my time. It takes much more of her time than mine. Or whatever. It's paying the bills, right? Like, and then some. So
yeah. With that said, though, it seems like there is some overlap from your businesses. Like Pete, for example. Pete worked with you at Get Emails before his retention.com, right?
Yeah.
And so Pete's been a great addition to RB2B from what it seems like.
Yeah, he totally.
Yeah.
And he's like heading this community effort right now, which is kind of like a side hustle. That hopefully we can start to get some pretty good funnels going for.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pete's great.
Do you want to talk about the community at all?
Sure. So like, I just, I had this idea that like, I really only seen like one truly personal brand led SaaS before, and it was ClickFunnels. And my impression of that guy, he just like housed lead pages. I mean, he just like crushed everyone else. I think this other one, High Level, is kind of caught up to him in that space, but like
Go High Level, right?
Go High Level.
Yeah.
But like he absolutely annihilated everybody. And upon doing deep research, he was like using a personal brand to sell people info products about growing their business, of which ClickFunnels was like the critical, backbone to it. So I kind of had this idea that like courses, community, and SaaS could be like blended in the interesting way, like he did. And I had this big audience, and like, I could like do these webinars and sell people and sell software and like whatever. But it just didn't really. He had absolutely perfect alignment with, and his SaaS was like really was the backbone of their businesses. It's kind of like this mission critical piece of tech, which I think you can't really argue that RB2B is. And so like the community is supposed to be part of this whole effort that I was doing. I made a bunch of courses. We created a community, and I think it's like the people who are super active in it love it. I don't think we articulate very well what it is, but our idea was kind of like, just most of the people do not have product market fit yet that are like there, and kind of get them to, the original idea was like get them to realize kind of what we had talked about earlier in the call. It's like you are stuck at a very, very low revenue number because your product is not good enough. You probably can't explain what it does. Before you're out there running ads and like doing cold email and wondering why none of that is working, it's because you probably can't even explain what you do, let alone have something. So like that was the original idea. Now I think it's like probably the most useful thing to people. The easiest thing to articulate in terms of a value prop, I think, is like something a little bit different, but along the lines of this guy, Ryan Alice, who sold this company, Eye Contact. He's kind of like selling a go-to-market template to people. And I think people would really want that from me. So if it was like, we have these monthly modules of like different parts of go-to-market that I'm doing. And it's kind of like a weekly call that's like done with you with some office hours with Pete, where it's like, here are these thought leadership ads I'm running. Like, here's this, here's this funnel. Like, here's this.
Basically join the community and we'll give away the kitchen sink.
Exactly. That's kind of the idea, right? And then you can really do some good future selling, like, in next month's module is like using AI to whatever, or, the month after is, and then you can sort of, yeah. So that's my idea. And it's not really articulated as that. It's like, join this thing, tune in every Friday, each of the, what would it be? How many weeks are in a year? 52. Like we're
Last I
gonna,
checked, yeah.
yeah, we're gonna like dissect the 25 things we have going on each week, and then do it again the next 6 months.
And then on
Yeah, and like I just feel like it's founders would buy, do it like a low monthly price, like $149 a month, like. Plus you get a community of people that are sort of in an active WhatsApp chat or whatever. It's just, I would have wanted that,
Yeah, no, I mean, and you spoke with one of our clients too, who runs a similar type of thing too, where he basically mentors founders, right? He had a successful exit, made a bunch of money, and he basically has a repeatable process that he teaches to the people who join his community. And people, they seem to find a ton of value in it. So it seems like this is, I mean, the thing is too, with these B2B businesses, a lot of the stuff that you do is very repeatable. It's like if you build a great product, you build a great team, you have the right plays from a marketing standpoint, you have the right flows from a sales standpoint, you have someone who can actually close deals and get them across the finish line, plus your pricing is actually, reflects the value of your product. Some of this stuff is very repeatable. I mean, there's a lot of serial entrepreneurs out there that copy and paste their techniques and they grow multiple 20, 30, $50 million ARR SaaS companies. So it's like, it seems like this stuff is extremely valuable for founders.
I think so. Like the reason I started making content the way that I do is because it's what I would have wanted 5 years ago when I was stuck at 3 million ARR and like looking at like Nathan Barry, who by the way is coming on my show on Tuesday, from ConvertKit. I'm like, how is he doing that? Like, what is he trying? Like how, what is he thinking about when he tries this stuff? Like, yeah.
So, Ollie, I know you had a question around this about finding product market fit, but I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah. I mean, now I kind of want to just hear how you're thinking about it, Adam, based on what you were just saying. But I saw a post you made recently about how you were talking to an agency owner and he was talking about raising money to build a SaaS platform. And I was just wondering, like, is it ever even worth it for like a high cash flow agency to focus on building a SaaS? Because it's something that Alex and I talk about all the time. And I think about companies like Fixer. Like, I'm sure you've heard of those guys. Like, they scaled their executive assistant agency like 5 million, I think, before building the SaaS. They shut all that down and focused on Fixer. So, I mean, I think there's definitely those like success stories that way. But yeah, curious to hear your take on that.
Yeah. So Fixer is one of the best combinations of everything. That's like looking at like Slack and saying like, those guys were building a video game, but like it didn't work and they built Slack. So like, should we build an interoffice messenger? It's like a lot. So like, first of all, so it's just, all I'm saying is the Fixer example is like the top 1% of 1% of success stories. I do like the fact that they funded the development of their SaaS with money from their agency, and the product that they built was off of knowledge from their agency, right? Because like, and that was what that post was about, by the way. It's like, SaaS is hard. It's getting harder. People are building shit faster. It's getting more competitive. It's just not getting easier, right? So, and if you've never built a SaaS before, there's definitely an experiential component to building a SaaS that is very helpful that you don't have if you've never done before. So what does that mean? It's like, if you go raise money, the odds that that money you raised will actually see itself through to a decent product as a first-time founder, I think is quite low. Look, it's hard. It's low to get a SaaS to work anyway, right? But that's the point. It's like, I would, if you have a cash flowing agency and you have a SaaS, see, like, yeah, I'm gonna modify this statement a little bit. Like, I'm not sure if someone told me about Fixer and what it does that I would be that excited about it. But then you log into it and it just starts working. And
Try
then
the product, yeah.
and then
It's awesome.
I'm using it, and then it, like, you know, it's like all of a sudden, it's kind of like LLMs are a magical interaction with software that has never happened before, but like you are constrained by your ability to prompt appropriately. And like Fixer like just eliminates that barrier, right? It's like you're using LLMs and they're doing the prompting for you. And you're experiencing the LLM through your Gmail as a result of the prompt engineering that those guys have done very well. That's my interpretation of. And they have applications of that they learned were valuable from their agency, such as the email sorting, right? And then I heard another guy say that like the email sorting is like really all about like, you know, your Gmail labels can't get around this instantly and smartly shit. So like, it's actually a great spam filter, you know, this email sorting, better than Google is at the moment, which could change, but yeah.
We had a similar experience. So the second we both downloaded Fixer 2, we were like, wow, this is actually insane. And it's so easy to set up because it just starts working, like you said, out of the box. Something that, this is actually completely random. I'm going to go off on a tangent here a little bit. But I worked at Procter & Gamble for 4.5 years before I got into tech. And something that I learned from CPG in particular is there's a couple different moments of truth that can affect the way your perception is across every buyer that interacts with your product or service. So there's the first moment of truth and there's the second moment of truth. And Procter & Gamble was like, they train everybody to understand FMOT and SMOT, which are just acronyms for those things I just said. So in their case, the first moment of truth would be you see Dawn dish soap on a shelf. Do you like the packaging? Does it look cool? Do you like the blue liquid versus a green liquid or an orange liquid, something like that, right? First moment of truth. Second moment of truth is when you actually try the product. So the first moment of truth in B2B, what I consider is branding, messaging, things like that. Second moment of truth is when you actually try that product. And Fixer, their second moment of truth is just that it's that aha moment. They really have hit the nail on the head. And I feel like their churn has got to be so low because once you've tried Fixer, it's really hard to go back to a standard inbox.
Yeah.
So I thought that was
look,
I feel like that just goes back to what the thesis of the post was, that you need product market fit. Like you actually have to have a good product in order to build it, regardless if you have an agency or not.
Yeah. I actually think that they have stumbled upon a new product category of LLM email sorting and drafting because it just wasn't as good before. It's kind of like the RB2B. If we're right about like AI filtering versus Apollo filtering of RB2B leads, it's like the LLM, you can be like, filter for e-commerce stores and send it to Kyle. Filter for publishers and send it to Ben. And it like does it way better than your 10-part filter for whatever reason from Apollo. So like, I think that these guys have stumbled upon a sticky product category, which is LLM email sorting. I think the other stuff is like, from everybody I've spoken to, is kind of nice to haves, right? Like, I don't know how you feel about like the calendaring thing. It's like people have kind of solved that problem already. The note taking is just, the rest of the stuff's kind of commodity, but like the fact that those filters are so banging is just like really awesome. And like you said, it's just in their workflow and they're not going to quit. I'm wondering, like, it's like, okay, that's still, if that thesis is true, that's still a pretty broad application of filters. Like you should be able to filter for a rep and for a CS rep and for a founder with like kind of more specific things to their role. They argue that no, that's not true. Like everybody filters in these 7 categories. Like we watched hundreds of hours of and they may call it something different, but it's these 7 things. So,
and what's amazing about that though is they've opened their TAM to be basically limitless.
Yeah.
So it's like that. The reason that their CEO made a post today saying that they were at $8 million and they're growing 60% month on month, which is just outrageous. 60% month on month is insane. But the reason they're able to do that is because they don't have an ICP. Their ICP is if you are a human with an inbox, then you should be using Fixer. So it's like, I think that's another thing that's gone really, really well for them. I mean, there's other products like that. Like if you ever want to learn how to code or try to code, or you're a software engineer, or you're just getting into software engineering, anything regarding engineering, you could use Cursor. Cursor's now, 200 million in ARR, something like that, in 14, 16 months, whatever it's been. It's outrageous, but it's like these companies with these unlimited TAMs are just growing like weeds.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That is correct.
Ollie, you had another question about that that's actually very similar too.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like 2 crucial parts of it. One, you have to have a great product. That's table stakes, like you said, Alex. Founder brand seems like it's more important than ever because you can build tools so quickly with tools like Lovable and Cursor. So yeah, I'm just wondering like how you think about like enterprise value, Adam, for your companies. Like, would you be able to sell it, like knowing that you're so involved in the marketing and like a lot of people sign up for the tool because they found you through your LinkedIn posts or something like that. Like, how do you think about enterprise value in that way?
I'm not really close to selling RB2B yet, but when that day comes, I will have needed to, like, I may still be using my account, but I will need to show somebody the system that is working without me to like do what it's doing right now. Right. So, and if we get a good product, it's not going to be the only channel, right? Like it'll be the most efficient channel, but, we'll build out other stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just the best way. It's like it's the best way to go 0 to 1 if you're good at it. And the alignment is another thing. It's like if you're selling to people that live on LinkedIn and you're sort of like one of them, and like your problems are like their problems, and if they're tangentially related to what you're selling, then like that's a miracle. And if you sort of have that and you're not creating content, then you're really hurting yourself.
So do you think LinkedIn, so basically you're saying there's a ton more room on LinkedIn also for you to grow your brand? Or what do you think? How do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. There's just there's just a lot of different ways to attack it. Like Diana is going to pull a different audience than me. I pull a different audience depending on what I talk about. Like I'm really interested in this content pillar of brand because like I just believe in brand so much. And there's this, what makes a great social media topic? It's like there's like an underlying disgruntled like feeling among marketers about performance marketing versus brand, where they all know that the brand stuff is better longer term, but it's almost impossible to get evaluated on anything other than performance because you can measure performance. So it's like you're getting hired and fired and promoted based on performance, but like we all kind of know that that's stupid and attribution's dumb and like all this stuff. So like, tapping into like being the hero, advocate of brand, it's going to gather an audience of marketers that me talking about, my monthly RB2B struggle with product, it's going to be a totally different audience, right? So, I think for this next phase of RB2B, if we try to improve, one idea was like to try to take it into the inbox and sell it directly to reps, which like I have since had a lot of conversations about how difficult that is and like how difficult it is to like get it to stick and all that stuff. So, but so long as it's like something like its current implementation, we're trying to improve the Slack thing. It's like, I'm selling to marketers. So like, I need to speak to them more frequently, which I really hadn't been doing the last several months. It's been more of the founder stuff. And I need to widen the breadth of the industry of marketers that I'm speaking to somehow, right? Away from just SaaS, right? So, yeah, all of that is huge. I think there's an ads opportunity on LinkedIn, right? Like kind of like, and there's like this guy, Preston Cody, he was a founder of Chubby's. He like writes about the shortcoming of measuring ROAS and brand all the time. And I think there's an interesting idea as it applies to B2B ads too, which is also an interesting, flag to stick in the ground. It's like, I don't want my existing audience looking at these ads, right?
You
Like
want new eyeballs.
they don't need to see them,
Yeah,
right?
you
But
want new
like if
eyeballs.
I only focus on net new eyeballs, my whatever day attribution window is going to look like utter dog shit. But like really going deep on that, it's like I'm running ads and I am choosing audiences that have shit ass ROAS. Why? You know what I mean? Like that's just a really interesting topic right there because it's
And I think
it's contradictory in your mind. It's like, well, why are you running ads and you want low ROAS? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
Right?
I think unfortunately too, there's a lot that goes into the way people are measured and attributed in their roles at companies. So people are
Yeah.
always worried about, I'm going to get fired if I don't show this kind of ROAS. So I'm going to go after the most low hanging fruit and
Yeah.
find it there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's not really that incremental to the business, right? So
Right.
it's exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about
So like being the person who can take this position
as the founder, right?
of
Exactly.
running the ads that everyone would actually like to run is
Because
like a
you can't get
great,
fired for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a great content pillar, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is what you should all be doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that was a really long answer to like, there's always different angles to make the LinkedIn machine more powerful, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, I mean, you ran all of your ads with us and then you stopped. You cut everything off, ads, email, everything, right? All at the same time. You said you saw a lift. We only have a few minutes left. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about all of this, but you said you saw a lift, but then now you're saying the product's in a better place. You came back and you said you want to start running ads with us again, right?
Yep.
So what kind of impact did you actually see from that? What do you see in terms of paid versus organic, in terms of the attribution, in terms of the actual growth that it's creating?
Yeah, like I didn't have great attribution set up. I know I know that the signups we're getting like 300 to 350 a week now. In the peak, we were getting like 500, but there was a lot of other stuff going on too. And there was a hype cycle of the product. We had no competitors and like people had not yet discovered the shortcomings that I learned over the last 14 months. So, yeah, I expect things to accelerate when we turn on other marketing channels for sure. Yeah. But we also need to like make this product experience that I'm talking about a reality, which is not yet. So hopefully, it won't be too long before it is. And then, more visibility plus better product, I hope means higher revenue.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have one question for you. I don't know if you'll be able to answer it in time. But what makes your content and your personality and your whole persona as a personal brand different from others? And why have you been able to accelerate your LinkedIn quicker than everybody else?
I think it comes down to like I'm just willing and able to be more authentic and real than anyone else, like consistently, in my position, right? It's like It's like, you know, there are no CEOs at 25 million ARR building in public, full stop. There's maybe one at a few million who's sharing at real numbers. And then everybody else, even when they're tiny, they're not actually sharing real numbers who are building in public. So like just that, that is the essence of it. But like that is like every post is kind of like that. I can just be like one level of detail more granular on everything that I'm doing and more real and more true, which compounds over time. And by the way, I think another critical thing is like, I look at this as edutainment, equal parts edutainment, and like storytelling is like a very big part of the philosophy of it. And I think that's lost on other people too. I mean, it's an advanced thing. It's like, there's so much I mean, at least this was the case for me. It's like, when I started posting, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? Like, what is the easiest way to just start getting shit out, right? Like, and it's like reporting. That's probably the easiest way. Like, just say what you're doing, right? And then I'm doing some pretty advanced ninja shit now, and it's all about like, how is every post some version of like a hero's journey, right? How am I like kind of agitating pain and letting people out at the end of it, and like trying to transfer an emotional state from me to them? And
yeah, and I feel like you've inspired an entire wave of influencers and thought leaders on LinkedIn too, who are writing in the Adam Robinson style, and now you see it everywhere.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. The
hey,
thing
what
with
are you gonna do? It's America.
no, I think it's a good thing, to be honest with you. It's helped
Yeah.
a lot of people. But what's really cool about LinkedIn in particular is it's like, you're not going to get TikTok numbers. You're not going to get Instagram numbers on LinkedIn. If you get 500,000 impressions on a post and they're all reaching your ICP, that's worth its weight in gold,
Yeah.
So it's like a totally different thing. And I think the people that are on LinkedIn are super engaged. And I think that's just making a massive difference.
Yeah. And they're valuable.
Super valuable.
For the most part.
Yeah, I heard a crazy stat. So we had a call with, it was Reddit. And Reddit was telling us the average Redditor has an income of 105,000. So like when you think about that compared to the average income, the median income, I think in the US is like 55K, something like that. So you're getting almost double just from Redditors. LinkedIn, I would imagine, is even higher than that. I don't know the exact number,
but the people who are engaging with our stuff, like, for sure.
Yeah. It's a valuable audience.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know we're at time. I wish we had another hour, but we don't.
Thank you guys. This was great.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, and let's do it again soon.
Let's do it.